Do you ever think a dead guy's secret could flip your whole world upside down? Jake Sullivan never did, until he stood in his cramped Seattle apartment, staring at a scratched-up key and a scribbled note left by a man who shouldn't have had either. It all kicked off with a sandwich, a small act of pity. But now, knee-deep in a mystery too wild to walk away from, Jake figured out one thing. This wasn't just about cash. It was about loyalty, a favor owed, and a history that wouldn't stay dead. Because someone else was after what Tom Baxter hid. And they weren't playing nice. Rain hammered the streets of Seattle on March 10, 2025, soaking Jake's faded hoodie as he trudged toward the shipping yard. At 36, he felt ancient. His back creaked from hauling crates. His soul worn thin, raising his son, Ethan, solo. Ethan's 11th birthday had been last month, just a pizza and a promise to fix his busted bike. Jake's lunch bag sagged, a turkey sandwich, a bruised pear, and a thermos of lukewarm coffee. Near the yard's chain-link fence, a soggy tarp sheltered a familiar shape, Tom, the grizzled drifter, who'd become a fixture. Jake usually shuffled past, too beat to care. But today a pang hit him, his late wife, Rachel, nudging him years ago to toss an extra snack to someone down on their luck. He paused, grabbed the pear, and crossed the wet gravel. "Wet as hell out here," Jake muttered, trying to sound casual. Tom peered up, rain streaking his weathered face. His gray eyes glinted, sharp despite the years. "Always is in this damn town." He snatched the pear, took a bite, and flashed a gap-toothed grin that cut through the drizzle. That bite set everything in motion. Over the next few weeks, Jake's breaks changed. He'd squat on a pallet next to Tom, splitting his lunch, a sandwich half, a granola bar, whatever he had. Tom paid him back with stories. He'd been Tom Baxter once, he claimed, a Wall Street whiz with a condo in Manhattan and a Porsche. A market crash, a nasty breakup, and too much whiskey had tanked him. His yarns were gritty, spiked with a dark laugh Jake couldn't resist. "Miss it?" Jake asked one day, rain pattering the tarp. Tom gnawed a crust, thinking. The cash? Hell yeah. The grind? Nope. Too much bullshit. He thumped his chest. "This is real. No faking it." Jake got it. Tom listened when he griped about the yard foreman, the rent hikes, Ethan's sullen moods. "Life's a crapshoot, man," Tom would say. "Play your cards or bust." Then Tom vanished. Jake lingered by the fence, sandwich damp, until unease dragged him to the alley. There was Tom, crumpled against a dumpster, clutching his ribs, his face gray. "Tom." Jake dropped beside him, digging for his phone. Tom's hand clamped his arm. "No point," he rasped. From his jacket, he shoved a scratch key and a torn note into Jake's hand. "Bank. For -8-1-9. Chicago, swear it." His eyes blazed. "Don't let it sit." "Tom, what?" But Tom's grip loosened, his head lolled, and the rain took over. He was gone. That night, Jake sat in his dim kitchen, Ethan snoring down the hall, the key catching the light. The note, 4-8-1-9, taunted him, ink blurry but clear. A bank account? A drunk's fantasy? He rubbed the key's grooves, Tom's words looping. "Swear it." With bills piling up and a busted water heater, it felt like a shot, or a scam. He needed backup. A Google dive landed him on Lauren Carter, a sharp attorney at Carter Legal in downtown Seattle, known for untangling weird cases. Her office screamed money, polished wood, Puget Sound views, a hint of citrus in the air. She leaned back, 42 and cool-headed, sizing him up as he spilled the story. "A key, a number, and a dead guy's rant," she said, twirling a pen. "You want me to hunt his shadow?" Jake straightened. "I want you to bet on a gut feeling. It's all I've got." Her mouth quirked, curiosity hooked. "Contingency deal," she said. "If it pays, I take a slice." Lauren dug in, piecing Tom's life together like a puzzle. Tom Baxter, a trading star who imploded in the 2000s, insider trading whispers, a lost fortune, a family he ditched. Then a late-night find jolted her, a faded photo of Tom and her uncle, Ray Carter, grinning at a firm they'd co-run before it tanked. Tom was family, disowned after a blowout Ray never forgave. It stung deep. She rang Jake at 1 a.m. "This isn't just cash now," she said, voice tight. "It's personal." Chicago loomed gray and windy as they hit First National Bank. The key slid into a safe deposit box, revealing a folder, an account number linked to $2.8 million. Jake's jaw dropped. Lauren's grip on the folder tightened. He wasn't bluffing, she whispered. The wind soured fast. Enter Bryce Hammond, slick in a tailored suit, claiming to be Tom's cousin. His paperwork gleamed, a 2021 will, a family tree tying him to Tom's ex-wife's brother. He was a recluse, Bryce said, all charm. Meant it for me. Jake's stomach sank. Lauren's eyes slit. Smells wrong, she hissed later, pacing their motel. She tore into Bryce's tale, calls to old sources, nights combing files. A PI in New York nailed it. Bryce was Bryce Delaney, a con man with a rap sheet. The will's notary was fake, the family tree doctored. In a bank showdown, Lauren dismantled him, leaving him fuming and the money Jake's. They thought it was done. Nope. Back in Seattle, the cash rewrote Jake's life. Debts cleared, a snug house replaced the apartment, and Ethan's college fund swelled. But Tom stuck with him. Jake started the Baxter Fund, serving hot meals and coats to the homeless. At the launch, he handed out pears, a nod to that first spark. Lauren stuck around. Their Chicago nights, plotting, venting, lit a fuse. She eased his roughness, he steadied her fire. It grew into love, loud and real. They wed in a quiet park, Ethan chucking confetti with a smirk. Then the letter hit. Postmarked Chicago, it came in a beat-up envelope. Tom's shaky handwriting. If this found you, you kept your word. For -8-1, 9's just the start. Check the key. A rough sketch pointed to a lot near the yard. Jake's heart thumped. Lauren frowned. He staged this. They hit Tom's alley. The key shaky in Jake's grip. It opened a rusty box under a curb, revealing another key and coordinates. At a storage locker across town, they struck gold, literally. Coins, bonds, and a notebook. Tom's saga poured out, his climb, his crash, a stash to make amends. A last line read, "For the ones I let down, fix it." But the plot thickened. As the fund grew, a woman named Mia showed up at a meal line, her face tired. "You knew Tom?" she asked. She said she was his kid, left behind after the divorce, now scraping by with a toddler. No proof, just a faded pic of Tom and a note begging her pardon. Jake stalled. Real or fake? Lauren dug, but the trail was icy. Tom's ex was dead, files gone. Mia's words ate at them. If she's his, Jake said she's owed. Lauren agreed, wary. Then, a hit, DNA from Tom's jacket at the morgue matched Mia. Jake met her at the fund, handing over bonds, enough to pull her out of the hole. He'd want this, he said, voice thick. Mia's thanks broke him open. The money wasn't his alone. It was Tom's shot at peace, spreading wide. One more curveball. Months later, a guy named Dimitri, gruff, tattooed, cornered Jake by the yard. "Baxter owed me," he snarled. $600,000, 08. You got his cash, you settle it. He waved a contract, Tom's signature, Dimitri's name, a debt from the crash days. Lauren tracked it. Dimitri was a loan shark, legit enough to drag them to court. Fear spiked. Lose the fund? Jake wouldn't bend. Lauren bluffed. "We'll air your dirty laundry in court." Back off. Dimitri scowled, then split. A week later, the locker burned. Arson, cops said. The stash was safe, moved days before, but the warning stuck. Tom's ghosts weren't done. Years rolled on. Jake, Lauren, and Ethan stood on their deck, the sound shimmering below. The fund hummed, Mia's kid in preschool, the debt dodged. Tom's notebook hung framed, a tribute to a broken man's dream. Jake thumbed the scratch key, now a keepsake. Lauren's hand found his, her calm as rock. Ethan, 17, hugged them tight, his path set. The rain that sparked it all faded, but its mark stayed. A pair, a key, a vow. They'd forged a life from nothing. Showing a small kindness could ignite a chain reaction, and atonement could outlast the ugliest debts.